we have a half hour, and speaking for myself, I'd feel better if we at least eliminated some things that at least some of us have problems with for going forward. Because if we don't do that today, every meeting is going to be more complicated. I mean, how many? There's 1, 2, 3. We've got 10 things here. If we can eliminate 4 or 5 of them off the top, and I think there's agreement at least on bankruptcy, then every meeting will be that much simpler.
I think that's fine, Steve. I just don't want it to turn into, well, we eliminated some, but that means we approved others.
Absolutely not.
Facetious, but
this is a one-way ratchet, Carolyn. This is. I like Leia's word. This is just the funnel. How many of us are there? 6. If 3 people want to pursue a category, it moves forward. That's all I'm suggesting.
Yeah, I think that's good to just right now. But again, I'm concerned that we're going to get to the end of 4 hours, 8, whatever it is, and everyone's going to say, well, these just survived 3 votes and then they're in. I hope we have a more intelligent and thoughtful process than just, out, what's left over is in.
Can I just add, I think Steve's suggestion is good if we just do a straw poll, because we're not saying anything is in or out. I did hear him say straw poll. And I'm not sure, we did ask for public comment, but I wasn't sure if people wanted to say anything. Do we want to ask the person who has had their hand up in the attendees to just add briefly if they have any facts they want us to consider before we do our straw poll?
Yes, and I'm very sorry I did not see that. So Oliver, are you able to speak? Olivier.
Hi, there we go. The chat was disabled, so I was not able to respond.
Sorry.
So, and obviously I understand this is a preliminary matter, but let me introduce myself. My name is Olivier Talu. I'm a partner at the Dominguez firm, currently practicing primarily in the area of personal injury with some employment. I started my career on the defense side. I worked out of Melvin & Myers for quite a few years and had a commercial litigation firm for the better part of 10 years. And now I'm focusing on personal injury. I sit on the CAOC Board of Governors, CALA Board of Governors. I'm an ABOTA member and have significant experience with some of these practice areas. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight, and I see that a lot of the work that you've done is based on the Access to Justice study, which I've read the executive summary. I've not been able to delve into the data, but it appears to me that the Justice Gap study has 2 components. One, which is the communication gap, and the other one, which is the actual access to justice gap. And my comment so far, based on the discussions, is that it seems that the panel is conflating these 2 categories and is immediately jumping to the access to justice gap without first analyzing what could and should be done to augment or to improve the communication gap. Because as Carolyn mentioned, a lot of the practice areas, in fact, all the practice areas that have been identified by the panel are part of practice groups, practice areas that are being currently serviced by a significant number of lawyers in the state of California. And it strikes me as premature to automatically jump to the how can we provide these services when it hasn't been determined that these services are being properly communicated. Existing services are not being properly communicated to the people who need them. And I'll give an example, unfair deceptive lending practices, right? So we're talking about whether it's big banks, whether it's mortgage brokers. The truth is that there is a significant practice of law that deals with these practices. And and my concern in opening up these types of complicated, and let's make no mistake about it, these are legal issues. They involve contract drafting, contract preparation, determining, the existence of a claim either under state law or federal law, determining, proper notice, and should these claims be resolved, would require people to sign off on 1542 releases, which eliminate all known and unknown claims relating to these types of practices. And so to me, is no doubt in my mind that we're talking about fairly sophisticated and substantial areas of law that require a legal education. Now, in sort of addressing a related issue, it's hard for me.
Olivia, I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. We usually have about a 3-minute limit on public comment, so I'd like just to ask you to wrap it up.
Yeah, last point. I apologize. The last point is, it's hard for me to listen to discussions on access to justice, bringing in non-lawyers, when the state of California's bar passage rate is at about 50%. And it's improved in 2019, but I think in 2017 it was even less than that. And so we're having, we can't even seem to find or to admit sufficient number of lawyers by the rules and by the laws that would be required to be known in order to address these issues. And yet simultaneously are talking about allowing non-lawyers who don't have a legal education or legal background to be handling these significant, difficult legal issues. So it seems we're jumping the gun on some of these. Now, I don't know about all of these because you guys will need to discuss the breadth and depth of these issues, but certainly at first glance, that's what it appears to me, and those are my comments. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So I think we were going to go through the straw poll process. Did you wanted to hear public comment first? And I don't see any more hands up. So.
Thank you, Leah.
Okay.
Yeah, so straw poll.
Linda, you just want to call the roll on each one of these and we can vote yay or nay?
Understanding it's just a straw poll and nothing's in, Carolyn, nothing's out either, really. Just seeing where we stand and what might need more discussion, I think.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just pull up. All right, so the first one is identity theft.
I can read them off, Linda. So identity theft, if you can just read the names of the working group.
Brennelson.
Oh, you muted, Julie. Muted.
Muted.
Okay, let's come back to her.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
So if I say yay, that means keep it, right?
For now.
For now, keep it. Okay, keep it.
Okay, hold on a second, and I'm just wasn't set up to track this, so bear with me.
Sorry.
Fleischman.
No.
Hartston.
Yes.
Shining.
I think this should be out. If I knew more about what we were talking about at the end of the day, I could have a different opinion, but
But it's only a straw poll.
I may vote more out than I otherwise would. Just so
Let me say what I'm going to say, because Carolyn, I think I have a little bit of information to share. So for me, I'm going to say yes. The reason is because these issues do come up in the courtroom, as you can imagine. People will take their sister's ID when they're countered by the police for stealing something and they say they're their sister. It actually is pretty hard to do an emendation and process and to make sure the innocent person is not charged with a crime, they have to have a police report. You would think it's easy, but it's not. And so I think that it doesn't require a lawyer to help them. They do need some help. And it goes to what Amos said is, I mean, maybe it's not even the practice of law and it's something else, but when someone has that happen to them, it does need help. And that is not even considering when someone has their credit card stolen and then someone's stolen someone's social security number. It is really hard to navigate that on one's own, particularly if you don't understand English very well or you're afraid of the authorities. So that's why I'm saying it should stay in for now. I'm just not sure it's a practice of law issue.
Okay. So just in the interest of time and keep moving. So we had, I think, 3 yays and 2 no's on that one. So for now, it is in the funnel. It hasn't come out the other side of the funnel. I don't know what the right metaphor is. So we'll have it there. Let's move on to unfair or deceptive lending practices.
Okay, Brynolfson,
Yes.
Fleischman,
No.
Hartston,
Yes.
Shining,
No.
you.
Yes, for some of the same reasons I said before. The difficulty, again, not sure if it's a legal practice thing.
Okay. That's also 3-2. Credit repair services.
Brynolfson,
Yes.
Fleischman,
Yes.
Hartston,
Yes.
Shining,
I gotta say no, I don't even know what this means.
and you.
I'm with Carolyn. I just don't, I've never had to do that, so I can't envision what the required assistance would be. So I'm so sorry, I'm a hanging Chad right now. Can I be a hanging Chad for a while?
Well, it's a 3-2. There's 3 yeses. So
I'll change my vote to no if we can eliminate it and move on.
just to tell you what it is, because I had to get it for my son. This is one where I wonder if it's a legal service. Like the company that I found for my son, it's not a law firm. But I guess if you want to challenge something on your credit report and you really think that it's wrong, then that's where there's some advocacy. A lot of it is just like helping you figure out how to make repayment plans and do all of that kind of thing. But I think if you really think something's wrong, it's navigating that process.
I think
And actually what the in terms of the question on the Justice Gap study, it said you had problems with companies that offer debt reduction or credit repair services. So it's not actually going through the credit repair service itself, it's problems that a credit repair service that's not, that has deceptive practices.
I think this one is tricky because what I think it is the people who nail things to the sign of telephone poles at exit ramps. And then you call them, they try to bundle your debt and get you to sign up, and they charge you $100, $200 a month, which is the interest, which is what you'd be paying the debt collector. So these are people, I think that, you've got very sophisticated people who are engaged in fraud. I don't know why we would want to add a layer to that. These are people who might need to be prosecuted criminally for doing what they do. So I don't know that we want to invite a paraprofessional into that world, if that's what this is.
Linda, what you said was very helpful. So I'm not a hanging Chad, I'm a yes.
And in fact, maybe for the rest of them, I should also read what the question was.
Yeah, I think we need
That'd be very
and for employment later this afternoon, we need to actually have the questions. But I think that would be helpful. So that's 3-2. So let's go, or actually, no, it's 5-1. Let's go to payday short-term lenders. Can you read the question?
Yes.
It's actually 4-1, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 4-1.
I'm just looking at, I'm looking for, oh, you were the target, let's see, I'm sorry. You had problems with terms for repayment or interest rates charged by payday lenders or other short-term lenders. Okay,
Okay, I'll
Can you
start
say
out.
that again?
yes. You had problems with terms for repayment or interest rates charged by payday lenders or other short-term lenders.
This is Carolyn. I'm just going to start out with a no on this one because these people are not to be negotiated with. You cannot negotiate with these people. Lawyers cannot negotiate with these people. You have to sue these people. There's legislation in Sacramento that is brought over and over again. I don't know why we're setting paraprofessionals up to fail. There's what are they? How are they going to get paid? These are not
Okay,
people that can.
This is just the straw poll part, because sorry, Carolyn, but we have like 14 minutes.
Well, and that's, with all due respect, Your Honor, again, that's why I don't know why we are trying to go into this from a 20, we got 20 things. If we'd have started at the beginning, we'd have had 3 minutes a thing. I just, having a more serious deliberation of this we started out, Ina said, I think we're not going to take any votes today, and here we are taking votes today.
It's a straw poll.
A straw poll, and I think if we can get through this, then we can
A
identify.
straw poll is still a vote, and it's going to go on a record, and people are going
But
to
we
see it.
wasted 25 minutes about process earlier, and so we're just trying to use the straw poll now because we got stuck with it. We wouldn't have had to do it if we had more time. So I think we should just get through it because we're cutting some things out. I was going to vote no on this one.
Okay, so Brynelson,
No.
Fleischman,
No.
Hartston,
No.
and we have Carolyn's vote already, and you.
No, thank
Right,
you.
unanimous. On fines and fees from criminal or juvenile, I'm going to make a recommendation that this be kicked over to collateral criminal because it's already come up in the conversations Judge Yu and Sharon Bashan are having.
I move that we do that.
Second.
Okay, any objections, Carolyn? All right. So we're winnowing the list down. Creditor collection agency harassment. Linda, can you read the question?
You were harassed by creditors or collection agencies, including being threatened with criminal prosecution or jail.
Can I start this one off? I think this was even one of the persons who's on the board of trustees was talking about harassment cases, and maybe that was something that people do need lawyers for. So I'm a yes.
Okay. Brynelson,
Yes.
Fleischman,
No.
Hartston,
Yes.
Shining,
I'm going to say yes on this one because maybe there's a way to train people and specific instances to think it through. And I'm with the Judge Yu that it's complicated, but this might be an area where we could think through a path.
Okay. Let's split up car repossession and defect warranty, if you don't mind. Let's start with the defect warranty issue. I think it might be easier. And I know, Linda, I don't know if there's a more specific question here you can read. I think these were combined together.
and it just said you had problems buying, paying for, or with repossession of a car, including problems with defects or warranties. So,
General Civil already voted no on the defect warranty issue.
Right.
Let's just kill that and talk about the finance part of it.
The car repossession part?
Yes. Does anyone disagree with retaining car repossession, sticking with the decision General Civil made around defect warranty issues?
I move to agree with General Civil.
Second.
General Civil didn't actually expressly address car repossession, but I agree we should keep out the defect warranty issues, but I think we should retain the car repossession for now to have experts come talk to us.
okay, so then I'll take a vote on just the repossession. Brynelson,
Yes.
Fleischman,
Yes.
Hartston,
Yes.
Shining,
I guess so. I don't know enough about car repossession, so we can learn more about it.
All right. Bankruptcy. I'm just gonna offer up that that's not included federal law. Any disagreement?
Not including federal law?
No, that we are not including federal proceedings in our paraprofessional program. So therefore,
Exactly.
all right, good. Let's go to wage garnishment. Linda, is there a more specific problem?
No, you had wages garnished for unpaid bills, loans, including student loans, unpaid child support, or traffic tickets.
Traffic tickets.
Okay.
But here, again, should this be, this is one where I guess we can keep it in because we need to learn, I need to understand more what people's problems are with wage garnishment.
Okay, let's,
When they say they did not get representation, legal representation to go to someone about their wage garnishment, I think that ultimately plays into what the paraprofessional is going to be asked to do. Is this wage garnishment going through Google, you know, as an employer, or Amazon as an employer? That might not be something that anyone can do.
Or it could be child support, because that's done with, you know, out them being there and they don't have representation and they need representation and it's hard for them sometimes to get it. So there's many different reasons why I think it should at least stay in for now. So I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Roll, Linda.
Okay, Brennelson,
Yes,
Fleischman,
Yes.
Artston,
Yes.
Shining,
I'll vote no because I think this should get split off into employment and family.
you.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, last one, utility cutoff due to non-payment or billing dispute. Is there any more detail in the question, Linda?
Nope, that's pretty much what it says.
Is it the last one? Because don't we have the solar companies thing that Linda raised verbally?
I think that is, she raised it when she went to go get information from the PUC about utility cutoff processes. They told her about solar panel issues.
Right, but
I was seeing that as a subsection of that, but maybe that was incorrect.
Okay, sorry.
no, that is, and that was, again, it was a utility cutoff issue. Okay. So Brennelson,
yes,
Fleischman,
Yes.
Hartston,
Yes.
Shining,
With all the reservations, yes.
you.
I'm not sure what it means, but so far I'm saying yes, we should retain it to get more information.
All right, so I think our final list for now is identity theft, unfair or deceptive lending practices, credit repair, creditor collection agency harassment, car repossession, wage garnishment, utility cutoff. So we did winnow it down. Yes.
Can I ask a quick question?
Uh-huh.
So really this is focused on creditor collection agency harassment, but it might be broader. I had thought that at the last working group meeting, we combined consumer debt issues and general civil. And I think it might be helpful to talk about creditor collection agency harassment with the related litigation of debt collection, if that's separately being considered. So I don't know if that means we should talk about kicking it over to general civil or if we're actually going to be combining groups.
I can't recall the composition of general civil. It was Judge Yu.
Me and Erica.
Right. Okay, so you're both here. I couldn't remember. I was confusing income maintenance. So our general civil working group is here, Amos. So I think we can approach it as you all see fit in terms of looking at the collective body of collections work. I think that would make sense.
Yeah, and maybe for our next working group, our next subgroup meeting, we can combine them too. I think that's what we had discussed at the broader working group, is combining the consumer debt and the general civil for this reason. There's some overlap or relatedness.
And there were some people who also joined general civil. Carolyn, didn't you join that too?
Yeah, Ira and I got involved at a couple weeks before it was done.
No, that was income
I
maintenance.
think that was income maintenance.
That wasn't
Didn't we have, but I think I spoke to both of
You spoke to Judge Yu and Stephen.
Yeah, but I thought when we were signing up, Carolyn, that you jumped in and said you wanted to be part of general civil too.
I did.
I have my notes, but I haven't checked them. I'm
So
sure.
I think, I mean, I guess what I would say is I don't personally feel hung up on the organizational structure. Whatever makes sense at this point. For the next meeting, we could bring back all the recommendations from General Civil. Some of them are not consumer debt, like the enforcement of small claims judgments is not necessarily consumer debt. The enforcement of a wage and hour order is not necessarily consumer debt. So there's a lot of overlap, but there's not 100% overlap. So I just want to point that out. But that being said, let's talk about the next meeting. We still have a lot of categories remaining. Do you all want to hear from subject matter experts, practitioners doing this work, judges? If we could spend a little bit of time brainstorming who you want to hear.
I would like to hear from Carolyn getting a consumer attorney type person to speak about the identity theft, unfair lending practices, harassment by creditors, because I believe we will find that is an area that the public is already well served with an existing bar, and we don't need to go further.
Yeah, I have someone in mind.
Okay.
I think anyone handling utility related issues and disputes would be helpful. I have no information about how that works and whether or not there's some space that's needed for coverage.
I think there are a couple of public interest groups. I think you guys identified Turn. I think there's also Citizens Watchdog. Also, I think is a group that works in this space dealing with the PUC constantly. So I can talk, I think it's Consumer Watchdog. I can talk to them. And I think you guys, I'd love to hear from the persons at Turn that you spoke to also.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would say, as far as legal services organizations, the person you talked to, Ms. Farron from Public Law Center in Orange County, I know her and she's terrific. And Public Counsel in Los Angeles has a consumer debt or consumer rights group who's very knowledgeable. Now, I do think both have come out and submitted comments critical of the program in general, but I do think they'd also be able and willing to provide, specific, issues and tasks and areas. So I'm happy to reach out to either of them, or if you would like to, I'm sure they would be willing to give us more information.
Okay. Well, we'll follow up with you, Amos, after this call. So it sounds like you'll be tasked with getting sort of a legal services voice, Carolyn, a consumer attorney's voice. We will find someone on the utility side. Does that sound good for the next meeting?
Is the next meeting also including the civil group or just us?
Well, I think we need to go back to the staff side and see what I thought the civil group was you and Steve. So I'm a little, I have to look at my notes and see who is in the civil group now.
Yeah.
I guess I would agree with Judge Yu. I thought we were all part of General Civil and these were just subgroups. I think Amos's would agree. I think that's what we thought we joined, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, so I think what happened technically is at the full working group, we decided to combine them for further meetings.
Okay.
But for me, the important thing, I'm not critical about that, except for the creditor collection agency harassment, I think should be considered along with debt collection lawsuits, because I think they're both very related.
And the reason why I raised that is I know for staff, you're having meetings probably every hour you're probably having to sit for hours doing all this, which is exhausting because I've been sitting for hours at a computer and I know it's hard, but and it may be sacrilegious to say, but I'm wondering if we should try to set a 90-minute meeting because an hour seems kind of short to process a lot of this. And I know that I think we used 24 minutes processing when we didn't need to. And I'm hoping we won't have to do that again, but I think we need time to talk a little bit, especially if we have subject matter experts.
Okay. I don't know when the next meeting is. Is it less than 10 days out, Linda?
Sick.
Let me look.
because we can't,
It's on the 6th.
yeah, so we won't be able to make that
Quick
one that night,
notice.
Judge Yi, but the following ones we can.
Okay.
And,
Well,
okay.
we might not need it for the following ones.
Yeah.
Thank you.
would it be appropriate for me to call Erica? Because I would really love to learn more about the process that you were describing with regard to identity theft. Because I heard what you were saying, but I think you were describing a particular specific situation that I'd love to know more about.
I actually just expressed everything I know that I see in a courtroom where somebody, you know, a police stops someone for committing a crime and they won't say their true name. They give the name. Sadly, it's usually the sister, if it's a female, or a brother, if it's a male. And then that poor sibling who doesn't have a record and might get a better sentence, you know, says that wasn't me. And then there's this whole process for that poor person to prove it wasn't them, which includes filing a police report that there was a false identity given. And it just takes a long time. And I don't know if it's the police agency or what, but I know it comes back to court often. And I'm always saying what's going on. And they're saying, it's slow, Judge. That's what I know.
All right. Okay, well, we've got our marching orders.
Okay, 4 o'clock is employment.
Yes.
Sorry, I have a quick question. So if I'm reaching out to people to speak, is it for the upcoming meeting, or when would we want to hear from them?
So Amos, I was going to connect with Linda after today and then send you an email, just because we just talked to Lee. So I just want to see what her thought is. And then if we could email you and take it from there.
That's great.
Can I
Okay.
ask a question?
Mhm.
So in terms of the employment, I guess I thought that was also a subcategory of general civil.
No.
I think we put employment and civil together
Okay,
at the last.
so all of the same folks that are here right now, we will see each other at 4.
But
No,
I think that,
no.
no, I think that was different, and that's why I had a problem with
We
it.
put employment and civil together.
Employment, no.
No?
Employment got combined with income maintenance.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay.
That's me, you, Carolyn, and Iris Vera.
Thank you
That's
so
the
much.
4 o'clock meeting.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and I don't believe I'm on that. It might make sense to send around an email with who's on which groups, because if there's some confusion, I don't need it right now, but I don't believe I'm on the 4 o'clock call.
I thought, we might have gotten that email. I don't know.
We will, I think we need to go back and actually listen to the recording from the meeting, because I'm not exactly recollecting it the way you all are describing it. I'm sure you're right. So we'll do that and we'll circle back around with everybody.
It was
Okay.
Amos's motion that I seconded was send employment to income maintenance, because we had already gone over these issues. We had subject matter expertise and everyone agreed.
No, I have a very different recollection. I put together a spreadsheet that I sent around, and Leah and Linda said, don't do that anymore, because if you send it to everyone, it has to be badly keen reported.
Oh,
And then Leah put together a table that she had from her notes, and that got circulated to everybody. So if you look at that, it has the categories, the dates, the times, and the people on the meetings.
All right.
oh, we saw some.
And I'm sorry, everyone, I do need to jump off. I have another call before 4 o'clock.
Okay,
All right,
Bye.
thank you.
bye.